Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am Tiffany with Voices for Independence Fitness and Activities. I am here with another cooking demonstration for you. This week, we are doing dishes through the decades, and we're starting with the 1950s. And I mentioned in an earlier episode, a popular thing in the 50s was potluck dinners. This is where one person would host a dinner party and all the guests would bring a dish to share. A lot of times there was something small and bite-sized, like an appetizer, so everyone could try a little bit of everything. Another popular thing in the 50s was to stuff vegetables. They stuffed anything from peppers to mushrooms and sometimes even fruits like strawberries. So this evening, I am going to share a cream cheese stuffed mushroom recipe with you. So what you're going to need for this is about 16 to 24 mushrooms, which I purchased the portobello style mushroom. And what you're going to want to do, I pre-wash these. You want to gently wash your mushrooms. They are a delicate vegetable. They're actually a fungus. And so you can take a damp paper towel and wipe them off. What you want to do next is then gently remove the stems. They'll pop right off. And we are going to dice these up very fine. So we want a very tiny dice to our stems. We can use every part of the mushroom, obviously. Some people didn't realize that you could eat the stems, but that is going to be what we're stuffing the mushroom top with. So what you'll want to do with your mushroom tops is you'll want to lay them on a pan. You can put a piece of parchment paper down so they don't stick, or you can just put them on the cookie sheet as well. So I have all my mushroom tops ready to go. I have some of my mushroom stems ready to go as well. And then what I'm going to do is just dice up the rest of them really fine in a small, tiny chop. And let me set this aside and do it real quick. So in the meantime, we are going to preheat the oven to 400 degrees. And then we are going to start our stovetop. We're going to make our filling or our stuffing for these mushrooms in a saucepan. So you'll want it on a medium-high heat, and we're going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter, which I have done so already. Once your butter is melted, we are going to go ahead and add those mushroom stems that we finely chopped up. So I have all my mushroom stems. I chopped them up. I'm going to add those right to the butter in the skillet, and we are going to start to saute those. And as those start to saute, we are going to let those cook down for about 3 to 4 minutes. And in the meantime, we're also going to start preparing our cream cheese. Our cream cheese is actually going to go right in the saucepan as well. So what I like to do is open up my cream cheese, and right while it's still sitting in the foil wrapper, I like to slice it up a bit, chunk it up, so when we go to add it to the pan, it'll be easier to melt in smaller pieces, and then one whole brick of cream cheese at a time. And we're going to stir this in our pan until it melts all the way, and then we're going to add some delicious seasonings before we stuff our mushrooms. So our mushroom stems are starting to cook down, and as those continue to simmer and saute, I'm going to start adding the cream cheese. Again, this is a great dish you can take to a potluck. There's still stuffed mushrooms are still popular today. They're a very popular appetizer at a lot of sit-down restaurants. So nowadays we can get them for carry-out or pick-up or delivery, as some of us still may not be going to sit-down restaurants during the pandemic. And let me just get the rest of our cream cheese out of the wrapper and into the pan. And now we're going to stir that in as well. We'll mix that right in with our sauteing mushroom stems. And we want that to cook down and melt. This is an easy recipe again. A lot of our recipes we do here on our cooking demos are for beginner cooks and bakers. We try not to do anything too complicated and keep it simple. And although the 1950s was a totally different time and people maybe had more opportunity to be at home cooking, it wasn't such a hectic lifestyle. being out in the workforce as much. They definitely still took the time to make their delicious dishes that they love to take to the neighborhood potlucks. So give it about 3 or 4 minutes and we're going to cook all that cheese down. In the meantime, we're going to start adding some of our seasonings. I'm just going to sprinkle them in, but we're adding about, let me read for you just so I get them correct, about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Same with our pepper, our onion powder, and our garlic powder. So I'm going to just put some onion powder in there. We're going to add our garlic and pepper. And then we're also going to be adding a little bit of parsley and some Parmesan cheese as well. So for our parsley, we're adding closer to 2 tablespoons. I'm going to remove my shaker so I can get a better pour on this. So about 2 tablespoons. If you've been cooking a while, you can eyeball it. And then 1/4 teaspoon of our black pepper as well. And then lastly, we're going to add in some either grated or shredded Parmesan, 1/4 cup. And I have just about that much left in my container. So we're adding that in. And we're going to continue to mix all this together. Make sure you're incorporating all those wonderful flavors into the cheese and mushroom stem sauce that we started. Lastly, what we're going to be doing, typically you're going to want to set this aside to cool, and then you're going to want to, you can put it if you want it to be a nice presentation. Now, like I said, this is popular at the potlucks, so we're taking it to the neighbors for a dinner, so everybody wanted their dish to look fantastic. We can put it in a plastic bag and cut the corner off it so we can actually pipe it into the mushroom caps. And I will do that for you, even though you should really let it cool down before you do that step. I am going to skip the cooling part just so I can show you. So there we go. We have our wonderful cream cheese mushroom garlic filling already for our mushroom caps. So I'm going to turn the heat off of that. And then again, you just take a Ziploc bag, and this is a good trick for anything from this to frosting or anything else you'd like to use as a filling. So I'm going to put some right in the bag. Spoon it in. Let me set that down. It's nice and delicious and cheesy. That Parmesan cheese melts up so nice. All right, I'm going to set that aside. Move the handle out of your way. And now what you want to do is bring your mushroom caps over. Let me get that off of there. And we're just going to cut the tip off the bottom of the bag. So we'll cut that over the cutting board there. And now we have a nice piping bag. So we're just going to take each one of those mushroom caps and just pipe our filling right in. It looks delicious. And then we're going to put these in the oven at 400 to bake for about 15 minutes. That will soften up our mushrooms a little and put a nice crispy golden topping on our filling as well. So you're just going to go through filling each one of those delicious mushroom caps. If you want, you can sprinkle little breadcrumbs on top for a little extra crunch. And then you're ready to go. Just cover it and take it right over to that fabulous neighborhood potluck back in the 1950s. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I'm going to continue and finish filling all my delicious stuffed mushroom caps, and I will post the recipe in the comments below. I hope you enjoy, and we'll see you next time. We'll be in the 1960s. Thanks.